Welcome to Boulder City City Council. Appreciate everybody being here. Madam City Clerk, call to order, please.
Thank you. The agenda was posted in accordance with Nevada open meeting law, and all members are present.
Thank you. We'll stand for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be offered by Chaplain Michael Thrower from the Second Baptist Church. Reverend Thrower.
Thank you, Mayor. Please bow your head in prayer. Thank you, God, for this opportunity for us to come together this afternoon. We just pray that everything that is said is pleasing to your ears. Yes. We're so grateful for everyone being here. We ask that you look over this council. You continue to look over this mayor. We ask that you just help us to keep this place being a loving place, a place for not only our residents, but also for our visitors to come. We ask you just keep us all safe, God. Keep us all safe. Keep our firefighters, our first responders, and our officers safe. These and all blessings. We thank you. We love you. It is in your name we pray it all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain. Can stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's so beautiful.
Don't think we have any public announcements.
I have one public announcement. I just wanted to remind the public that we still have applications available and seeking volunteers for the ballot question committee. If anybody has any questions, please reach out to the city clerk's office, 702-293-9208. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll now open the meeting for the first period of public comment, which is to be anything that is on the agenda. You have up to 3 minutes if you're calling in, or if you're standing here sitting in the chambers, you could come forward at this time, state your name and write your name, and then take your 3 minutes and say whatever you would like according to anything that's on the agenda. And then if we have anyone on the phone, 702-589-9629, be happy to hear from them too. Anyone here in chambers? There's got to be somebody who's here in chambers that wants to say something. This will be a record. Could we put that in the minutes? No one on the phone, no one in chambers. Okay. So we'll wait a little bit to see if 702-589-9629 answers. And they're not answering so far. Okay, we'll close the first public comment, and we'll move to approval of the regular agenda.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous, and then we'll move to approval of the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Again, unanimous. That takes us to the regular agenda number 7.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So in September of 2025, the City Clerk's Office initiated a campaign to encourage youth involvement in democracy and to promote civic engagement by giving students the opportunity to design a sticker to be distributed to voters during the 2026 election. So Boulder City will have their own stickers this year. The I Voted sticker contest was open to Boulder City students in the following grade categories. We had K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. 62 entries were submitted, and the top 3 in each category were judged by Amy Carvalho, Jill Lagan, Barry Joe Berman, and Diane Ricks, and we'd like to thank all of them for participating and helping us out. From there, a ballot was created with the top 3, and we brought ballot boxes to all of the different locations, and the students cast their votes, and the following were declared the winners. K through 2 was Madison Hensala. 3 through 5 was Riley Knudsen. 6 through 8 was Lucy Keller. And grades 9 through 12 was Jewel Branson. And so I would just like to thank all of the students who participated. Their artwork was all inspiring, so thank you very much. And the mayor and council have some certificates to present to you.
So first of all, I need to say, normally we're very sedate. And so I would like another cheer for all of them. And the city attorney just reminded me, I did not thank my staff, and I'm really grateful to them. It was Bridget Rodriguez, Stacy Brownfield, and Lori Weekland who worked really, really hard on this project, so thank you. We now get to do something fun. The city council people will come up and we'll give you the certificates, those people who won, and a bring this card and token to Utopia for a pinball lounge, 1 hour of free pinball, plus 1 fortune from Addie Luna Speaks. So we will have them come forward. We're going to go down and get a photo.
Would all of the winners please come forward?
So first of all, Madison. And so they see what you did. Hold it really high. So Madison, what would you like to say? She says everybody should vote. I think that's what you said, right? Okay. You're welcome. And then you're not going anywhere. You're here for the picture too, okay? And Riley Knudsen. Everybody can see what you did. And I would like you to tell us what it looks like, so they think we have to do it kind of like that, right? So what was your inspiration?
Just a bald eagle. I drew a bald eagle, and that's really it. I don't know.
And there you have it. Good job. Okay, thank you, Madison. And Lucy? So teach us what you drew and how it relates to voting.
I drew the Lake Mead, and it's part of Boulder City, so I drew it.
Good job. And Jewel? And show us what you did, hold it up high, and then with it down, teach us.
I just thought to draw the Boulder Dam because I thought it would be cool.
And these are, you know how you get the sticker I voted? Well, these are what you're going to get. These are Boulder City's own. Good job, thank you. going to get a photo now, okay?
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Basically, we want everybody to come up and get it.
Basically, that's it, right? Everybody
If you want to be in a photo, this is your chance.
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
We'll share. That's how cell phones work. We're good. Agreed? Good.
$62 stickers, wow. That's a lot to vote for.
See, there is something from our council, and they did such a great job.
They really did. I was hoping they could show it up there.
You're welcome to stay as long as you want on your way out.
Good holiday greeting.
As long as you want, kids.
Oh, it's getting very sparse.
Empty out the,
Oh, no.
everybody come. That was a good call, Mayor. Everybody come
It's
up.
gonna be freezing cold in here in just a minute. That's the fun part of our job. And then there were 5. No.
Yeah.
The youth. Gotta get more kids up here.
Did it have to have a child here?
Yes, that was Jewel, the oldest.
Oh, that was his daughter.
No, she just goes around church.
Oh, go to your church.
I put out the bat signal. Jules was getting one. 'Cause we were, she got that story too. We've been encouraging her for years. No, stay in there, hang in there, and this really did a lot. And her grandma.
I'm telling you, what grandmas are having to work twice as hard these days.
Tell me about it.
We appreciate everybody and their patience, and we'll now move to number 8 on the agenda, presentation by Theodore Robison and representing our district, Regional District 3. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Greetings, Mayor Hardy and Boulder City Council. As said, I'm Theo Robison, the Region 3 Superintendent, and I'm here today for our Quarter 4 Municipality Report. So today we'll be talking about chronic absenteeism, student discipline, and then I also brought Brandon McLaughlin, our Chief of Facilities, to provide details to answer some of the questions pertaining to the facility master plan in support of our Boulder City schools. So some of the trends that we see within our student attendance, and I want to preface this by saying this is from the end of the school year last year, 24-25 school year, is that we saw a 2.7 increase in our overall chronic absenteeism rate. Currently, we do see some drops in that trend, but again, this was from 24-25 school year. Some of the behavior patterns that we saw was that one of the things is that due to the smaller sample size that we see here, a lot of our groups that we would typically like to pull, we aren't able to give you that information because of the fact that there's some pretty low numbers in regards to some of the discipline data. Also, one of the things that we want to talk about a little bit is that we see some shifts and swings in proportionality based on the lower numbers that you have here in Boulder City. So what typically that means, if you have like 10 students in a group, one student did the thing, say being chronically absent, then that's going to significantly impact the data because we have a smaller sample size of kiddos. One of the things that I'd like to highlight through this, though, is that we had 32 fewer removals from instruction, including 14 fewer students that were eligible for special education as well. And then we also saw that we didn't have enough discretionary expulsion data to share as well. Some of the challenges that we see across the system in regards to chronic absenteeism rate and also student discipline is that ensuring consistent implementation of interventions across schools remains a challenge. It impacts the continuity of the family and the student supports that we try to provide. And then also re-engaging students remains difficult, especially when academic and emotional needs are not addressed immediately. And then lastly, I would like to share that on the efforts of balancing priorities, one of the things that we had to highlight was the need for additional support to sustain outreach to our students. But on a positive note, some of the successes that we saw last year is that we did truancy sweeps and home visits. And based on that work and also establishing professional learning that included more trauma-informed and equity work as well into professional learning, we were able to build better relationships with increased our re-enrollment rate of students that previously withdrawn by 31%. So that's a pretty positive statement there. One of the lessons that we learned throughout this is the importance of cross-departmental collaboration and enhance effective campaigns to ensure consistent messaging throughout the district as well. So next, what I would like to do is give you some celebrations from some of our schools here, or all of our schools, I should say, here in Boulder City. So at Mitchell Elementary School, they had what they considered to be a widely important goal. And within that widely important goal, they wanted 100% of their students that take the MAP reading assessment to achieve growth. And right now they're on track because at the middle term of the winter data break for MAP testing, they had 91% of their students show growth. So an incredible 91% at the winter time showed growth on that MAP assessment.
Could you repeat that?
Yes, I will. 91% of the students at Mitchell showed growth on their MAP mid-cycle data assessment.
Thank you.
And their ultimate goal for the year is 100%, so they're almost there. Also, in second grade proficiency was their second goal. They wanted to target 70% of the students meeting the 60th percentile. They're only 2 points off of that goal for the year already. They're at 68% of that. So pretty strong academic work happening there at Mitchell. Also, we have successfully moved 41% of our Tier 2 math students out of intervention. So that's out of the 44 students that participate in that math intervention, 18 of those students have been moved out. And then also we see that we have the remaining students have at least gained 3 skill sets during that assessment window as well. And then for our high achieving students, 10% of the student body is currently being challenged in extension groups to keep them soaring above grade level. At Martha P. King, some of the highlights that we'd like to celebrate, again, they have 4-star status. Their overall growth recognition is celebrating sustained high achievement in reading and math based on the winter MAP growth and iReady diagnostic assessments. And then they also have something that's called Magical Math Competition, which is a unique monthly tradition featuring problem-solving challenges and conclude with a high-energy atmosphere involving indoor sparklers and firework effects. And then they also have something that's called Win Time. It's What I Need Time. And it's targeted daily instruction support and dedicated 3 times a week after school tutoring for grades 3 through 5. And then also they're preparing for iReady transition that all schools will take part in next year and acknowledging student proficiency as the school pivots towards the new state assessment platform. In regards to their career and entrepreneur work, they have the VGK Farmers Market that will take place on March the 28th, which is a major upcoming event where students will sell school-grown produce for Daisy's Market, or Daisy Garden, I'm sorry, alongside items that are designed in their school 3D printers. And in STEM and financial literacy, they have hands-on instruction and integration of agriculture and entrepreneurship supported by community partners such as Sunrise Rotary Club and the Boulder Dam Credit Union. And then they also have a random act of kindness program, which is a weekly Friday tradition that honors a specific student demonstrating exceptional empathy, respect, and compassion. At Garrett Middle School, we saw that their MAP data showed that they had high achievement and high growth for 61% of the students, which is pretty phenomenal. Strong data there. Also, for their STEAM Zombie Apocalypse Day, a school-wide cross-curricular event where students applied mathematical reasoning and engineering and creative arts to real-world scenarios and problem-solving skills. And we also had 55 scholars who honored with a special straight A celebration featuring a luncheon and an afternoon at the Boulder Bowl. And then for PLC success, they have targeted instruction data digs, which have led to the growth overall between the 60th and the 64th percentile across all grade levels. And some of the culture and leadership and counseling work that's taking place at Garrett, it continues in regards to implementing the Leader in Me program, where they have 7 habits utilizing lessons daily, and then also the Student of the Month recognitions to build leadership accountability. Also, we have students that are logged hundreds of community service hours for Toys for Tots, and they've collected over 300 toys for local families in our community. And then student council members traveled to Disneyland for a specialized learning experience focused on innovation and leadership principles as well. And then lastly, at Boulder City High School, we saw that their academic achievement was phenomenal by 100% of the students taking the ACT test. So every junior at Boulder City High School took the ACT test. And then also they have data-driven preparation where students engage in goal setting and practice data analysis with teachers to ensure purposeful preparation for their exam. And then we also have the SOAR advisory program. The dedicated program provides every student with a consistent connection point on campus to foster academic and personal growth. And for their school culture and climate, we saw that this is pretty amazing right here. So they had supportive relationship scores on the latest Panorama survey, which ranks at the 80th percentile nationally, which is telling us that 90% of their students score that they have a favorable response rate regarding student and adult connections at their school. That's an incredible, incredible number nationally. And then strong support systems, a remarkable 94% of students report having a reliable family member or adult advocate outside of school for them. So pretty phenomenal things that we have taking place in our community. So next up, I'd like to invite Brandon McLaughlin, our Chief of Facilities, to the podium to update you on the Facilities Master Plan.
Thank you.
Good evening. Some great results being seen at our schools. As Region Superintendent Robinson mentioned, my name is Brandon McLaughlin, Chief Facilities for the Clark County School District. So I'm here to provide you I'll try to summarize to 2 minutes of the process we're underway with, and then maybe some next steps of how you and your constituents can engage with that work, because it's going to take all of us. And so the thing I like to ground ourselves as we discuss the facilities that our students enter into each and every day and our educators come to each and every day is how do we have the greatest amount of impact to benefit our students and our learners coming to our doorstep each and every day. The district-wide, there's about $15 billion in capital improvement need across the district. Now, there is about $3.6 billion available due to the rollover bond that was approved in 2021. So there's a deficit, there's an imbalance currently, right? So a few of the key metrics that we look to as a district of how to prioritize some of those dollars, though we would love to make improvements at every single campus, is how do we, again, have the greatest impact for the most amount of students with the fewest moves. So you look at that imbalance of projects, and let's look more granular to the Boulder City key indicators of us from a facility front. We know you have 4 facilities, right? The Martha P. King, Mitchell, Garrett Junior High School, and Boulder City High School, right? And you have about 1,661. Again, I might be off a student or two, but that's our general enrollment for those 4 campuses on count day this year, 1,661. Now our team tracks development tracking, any new houses coming on. We also track migration of families moving into or out of any given location within the county, and with razor precision, that team's been 99.66% accurate over 20 years. So a good degree of confidence in what we're projecting, not only in 1 year's time, but 5 years' time. And so we start to look at what's that 5-year outlook for our schools, especially in Boulder City, and we're projecting about 1,337 students. So to sit with that for a second, that's about a 20% reduction in our student enrollment. And so there's two things that stand out to me of what this process will allow us to achieve. We're going through a public engagement process for two critical reasons in my mind. We want to use our taxpayer dollars the most efficiently we can, like I said, the most amount of impact with the least amount of moves. And also we want to improve the conditions. And one that stands out to me that I know stands out with some of your constituents is safety. We want our kiddos to be safe when they come to our grounds, right? So there's some conditions at some of our campuses where currently there's less than the most safe environments there. And so again, how do we make those improvements necessary at all campuses so all of our learners have a betterment to come? So what we're doing with the facility master plan is district-wide, there's geographical planning areas so that the constituents of Boulder City don't have to talk about what's happening up in Sky Canyon and vice versa. They don't have to hear about Boulder City. So it gets to be a very contextual conversation around some of those key metrics I just mentioned to you, what the enrollment trends look like, what the facility condition index, and that's a nerd lingo of what's the ratio of the cost to repair a piece of capital investiture, like a building, versus the cost to replace that same square footage. And the higher the number, the worse the building is in current terms. So it's like golf, you want the lowest score wins. So we bring those things to what we call a district-wide planning group, and that's all of our academic and operational leaders, as well as some of our representative stakeholder advisory group members, and these are selected by our principals. They are oftentimes students, they're teachers, they are community members that the principal trusts to advocate on behalf of their communities. And we present the same data points to them, saying, here's the data of enrollment, here's the data of how your buildings are doing, what are potential options of maybe things that are different than what we're currently experiencing, or how we deliver K-12 education here in this location. So, as of last Wednesday, we presented a slate of options to our board. Specific to the Boulder City area, I'll highlight some of those. So currently, like I said, I know you guys have 4 schools. They're wildly successful based upon what Theo just gave as an update. And we want to continue and try to bolster some of that success, but in higher quality buildings. But what that might need to do is what can we explore of what the facilities may look like, what those grade configurations may want to be. I know there's attributes of the smaller campuses that we all think are valuable and part of contributing to that success. So in any arrangement, we always want to ask the question, what's best for our students? And sometimes that might mean different grade configurations or different campuses than where they're currently at for those given grades, right? So the slate of options that was presented, and I'll just walk through them and I'll go through the process of what the next steps will be about those options, because they're just preliminary draft options at this point. There's a 4th school. There's always, in all of this work we're doing, there's always a status quo to say, in a prioritized fashion, just take care of either capitally renovate or replace our existing grade configurations, campuses, school layouts, right? With obviously modern day instructional layouts. The option 2 explores just a possibility of what if 3 schools exist in this community? What would that allow us to do? Are there things that would be better for our students? Or are there things that maybe culturally would be different that we need to address? And ultimately then there was an even more down the road path of what could we do in 2 schools. And so you start to see the trade-off of capital investment versus operational costs. The less operational costs we are operating multiple campuses, trying to make them secure, trying to keep all the water and the lights on, that's more dollars into our classroom instruction. That's where the money will actually produce the results that you guys are seeing, right? Not on fixing a squeaky wheel and a leaky pipe that never quite goes away. So those are the draft options of A, B, and C on a sheet that you'll see in the reference material provided to our board last week that I'm happy to share on to this body after this. There's always an empty column D, and the engagement process that we have laid out throughout this spring. There will be 2 community meetings at Boulder City High School. First is on April 1st, and then the second is on, I believe, May 13th. And what we do is go through a very deliberate process with our national partner that's was hired to help us lead this work around, hey, you guys see all the same data we do, you see the enrollment, you see the condition, you know the various grade configurations thrown out around there. Is there another glimmer of light that no one in the district planning group or stakeholder advisory group thought of yet? So we always want to keep the option on the table that we don't know all the wisdom. That's why we come to the communities that we serve. So that during those meetings on the 1st and on May 13th, we'll do just that. We'll present the same slate of options, and we'll solicit feedback from your community members that decide to show up and participate in the process. Throughout the springtime, it'll be on a listening session of sessions like that, and it'll be across this whole county, not just exclusive to Boulder City. Though, obviously, we're only going to talk about Boulder City options when we're out here in Boulder City. Then, into the summertime, we'll continue to vet the feedback we heard. We'll vet that with district leaders, principal leaders, most importantly. And then ultimately, we'll present with Canon Design, our national partner, a slate of recommendations. And we as staff and Canon as our expert hired to assist us are only that. We're only a recommending body. Ultimately, it's up to the Board of School Trustees. So we're targeting about a fall time frame of what the next step would be for some of these. So just in a wild idea, say there's an option D that one of your great community members comes up with, and it really takes speed. The board would take action as early as the fall, and then we would then, as district staff, start to put some of those steps into action. But obviously, like I continue to reiterate, we want the fewest amount of moves and the most fast too, because some of the data that I didn't leave out in this about your guys' FCI, some of the schools need attention really soon, and so we want to deliver those results for you guys soon, but we just need to get there in a consensus-based fashion. We don't want to just haphazardly make decisions on your behalf, and so really this process leans into a transparent era for the district and around facilities and capital improvements, because frankly, you guys pay the same line items on your tax bill as all the rest of us, and you guys should have a voice in how grades are configured in your communities. And so that's exactly what this process over the spring is intended to do. I went way past my 2 minutes that I thought I would, so I will happily pause there for any questions for myself and also for Mr. Robinson.
Questions? Go ahead.
I'd like to first start with comments. I love what I saw for the school district overall for chronic absenteeism. And I loved what you said about the different ways that you're looking at it and the strategies that are being employed. Had the chance to go to the state of Clark County School District and listen to the new superintendent and felt excited about real change coming forward that could help our students as a whole in this valley. And with us being the 5th largest school district in the nation, I see that as positive for the whole nation as a whole. So I loved what I heard from you. Ours went up a little bit. I'm sure that our principals are aware of it, because as you heard from what you said about what's going on in our schools, we have great administrators here that care about the kids as a whole. I mean, I just listened to all the different things that were happening, you know, inside of the classroom, outside of the classroom, to help our kids to find success as a whole. And I'm appreciative of that, and I recognize these creative ideas that are coming forward, and I champion them. And I hope that they funnel down to our schools, and we do see that true change that's being looked for. And please take that back to the superintendent, because I do really look forward to that. Obviously there's always concern when we consider change. I think one of the things, and probably all my council people up here will agree with me, we sometimes are agents for change up here. And it's not always met with smiling faces or positivity, and change is very hard. It's just that we come to the conclusion of why we're changing and if that's best, right? And that's why we're having the discussion. And thank you for coming to stakeholders and really listening to them about that change. Because in a small community like this, it's impactful. To not just, it's impactful for the teachers, the administrators, the students as a whole, and they are succeeding, and we're so proud of them. And as you saw tonight, we get the opportunity to have them draw stickers for our I voted, right? What a great opportunity that is here, and we're so proud of our youth and what Clark County is trying to do and how they implement it here for us. I did have a few questions. I do serve as a disclaimer on the facility board. And these usually do come before us when those changes are made or those decisions, right? As far as what's happening next in the budget.
Yeah, Brandon McLaughlin for the record. Yeah, I believe you're on the oversight panel for school facilities.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
So this would be something when the time came to be voted on, as far as financially speaking, would come in that direction?
Yeah, this is financially, when we go to issue those municipal bonds, would go through the oversight panel for school facilities as well as the county debt management commission.
Which I'm also on.
Yeah, yep.
I would
know.
see you twice.
Yes.
Okay. I did have a question as far as the class sizes, caps and class sizes. They have, like, say we take our, because I've had people ask me, right? Say that we take our K through 2 and our 3 through 5 and we put them together. We're going to have these huge classrooms filled with 50 kids. Someone did say that. Could you speak on that?
So Theo Robeson, Region 3 Superintendent. So one of the things that we do have is class size agreements. And within those class size agreements, like, we will never allow a classroom to reach maximum capacity to where it's going to jeopardize the learning environment overall for our students. And so as we do this work and as we build this work and as we collaborate with our principals, that's some of the things that we do throughout our process when it comes to the allocations of our school resources and things of that nature. And so typically that work happens in the springtime, and then it also happens in the fall as well. And if schools start to see a need for additional FTE funding and things of that nature, then there's typically an appeal process that they write, and then we go through that as district leadership team to make decisions on that across the system.
Okay, can I also ask you, I know there's autonomy in figuring out the budget, right, of some sort. Do administrators' budgets, or do administrators' salaries get paid out of that budget, or does the school district pay administrative salaries? Because the teachers'
Yeah.
salaries get paid out of that budget, right?
So technically, all the resources are for Clark County School District. And then they allocate that based on the ratio of how many students that you have, but you get a specific amount of money, and then that's where your people come out of that pocket of money based inside your budget that's provided to you from the district.
Is that also the principal's salary?
Yes,
So it's every salary that's inside of there?
yes.
Okay. I also heard that more dollars into class instruction directly. Is that specifically if we choose to make these decisions here in Boulder City? Does that money that we are saving specifically come to Boulder City, or are we talking overall for Clark County School District?
Yeah, Brandon McLaughlin, it goes district-wide. We'd see that base per pupil go up across the system. And you'd hope that members here saving money are also taking place in all the other 24 planning areas that we have. So again, that base pupil is raising across the district.
Okay, and then one more question
Yeah.
for you. Oh, go ahead.
Before
Sorry.
you can, I
Yeah.
wanted to follow on the class size piece, because it is something we're considering within this. So when you have some of the numbers I stated about our campuses being 50% full, which all 4 of the campuses here are experiencing, that's where you do start to see some of the troubles where class sizes get overly cumbersome, is that actually school size and class size are inversely proportional. So the fewer students you have in a bigger building or intended for larger capacities, that's where it gets tough to, you have 45 of second grade, so not quite enough for a second section of them, or if you had a huge budget, you could have 2 sections of 22 kids, right? But then that's extremely low, which is what we want. But then you have to pay two teachers within that budget. Now that's true across all of your grade levels. That's where the challenge becomes. And so in right-sizing some of these is you try to look at some of those exact things where you have a healthy, not overly cumbersome, say high school-sized anything, but you can concentrate resources into fewer things, but you're providing higher quality and appropriately sized sections where you can. That make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, I've been here long enough
Yep.
that I taught second grade when we were trying to build schools fast enough, and I was a year round.
Yep.
teacher, and there was 2 of us in a classroom to be able to facilitate the number of kids.
Yep.
So I've been on the different side of it where we're not a shrinking district. We're growing so fast we can't control it. Now we're kind of shrinking.
Yeah, it's weird. We're on the other side of that apex.
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Yep.
And I was educated here in Clark County School District. My parents were teachers. So, I mean, it's the long scale of it that I've seen. I just would hope when we go to consider this is demolition. I mean, we're building a new pool. To demolish something, which I'm assuming would have to happen if you went down to 2 schools or 1, heaven forbid, or 3 schools. Something has to happen to the schools that exist, right? And that would include demolishing them?
Not outright. So all of the options across all of the county we've engaged with, and that's at the invitation of Mr. Mays and Ned, why we're even here tonight presenting some of this with you, is we want to have those early conversations that it doesn't necessarily mean demolition of these community assets. While they're not something that the Clark County School District needs to educate pre-K through 12 education any longer, counties, cities obviously have a lot of need to provide a lot of community good, and so we're happy to entertain any of those conversations around what you guys may need those buildings for, but just we as a fiduciary responsibility can't operate them as a school any longer,
So you feel like you would be able to facilitate all of our K through 5 in one of our elementary school buildings?
That's one of the draft options.
Right,
And
I
from
saw
a
that. So I'm just saying, if you're just not going to demolish and build a new school and you're just going to keep the school, one of them functioning. So my question is, you feel like we could fit all of our student population in one of those schools?
I'd have to check the capacities on them, but yeah, that's one of the scenarios I believe is one of the 2 of them has sufficient capacity for both. But again, that's one
Will
of...
you be coming with that information to the April 1st meeting?
Yeah, that's all the stuff they'll be walking through.
Okay. Okay, sorry to take so much time, but thank you.
Very good.
You can see why we let her do this.
First.
She can't be the only one with questions. Come on.
Go ahead. I'll go up to you.
Thank you.
I want to go back to special education. Why is there a decrease in special education? I would think we'd be pretty consistent. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah. So what you're referencing, I believe, is where I said that there were 32 fewer removals for instruction, including 14 fewer students eligible for special education.
Correct.
So what that means is that we saw 14 less special education students specifically removed from instruction, like suspension, based on how schools have been intervening in regards to student discipline and being more proactive in their response.
So it was for discipline, basically?
Yes, that was for
Okay,
discipline.
I'm sorry, I
Thank
just
you.
wondered why we were taking fewer children.
Yes, no.
Okay. On these different plans that you have, the A, B, and C, are you going to come up with what is the cost going to be for this, and what are the pros and cons? Is under your list, you don't need to tell me tonight, but I'm just asking, when you have your meeting on the 1st and the 13th, what, are you going to have those things there so people will know what the pros and cons are and what the cost of what you want to do is there?
The pros and cons, yes, I believe they're already listed in the book there. That's that second middle bar there, right? And then right now, from the cost perspective, we're just looking at the dollar signs because it is pretty relative. When we get toward the fall timeframe and any sort of implementation on any of that, that's where we will get very granular. I know we have run a couple of preliminary numbers on some of this, so we're more than happy to start to socialize those come that fall timeframe.
So if they build a new school, which is one of your options here for the K through 5th, are you going to have what that cost would be to do that versus putting them all in a classroom that's already there? Is that going to be considered at all when the parents are talking?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and will they know what type of hazards might be in these buildings? And why removal would be good if it had certain hazards? I don't know if they do or not.
Right. Yes, if that's a recommendation you think we should come equipped with, 100%, absolutely, we'll have some of those things able to speak to.
Well, I just know some of the schools are older, so I don't know if there's hazardous materials in them and things that children shouldn't really be around. So that would be great to have for the parents when you're talking to them.
Absolutely.
And we said that you're going to have a meeting on 4/1 and 5/3, and they're all going to be at Boulder City High School?
Yes.
And we're at Boulder City High School?
I believe they're happening in the library.
In the library,
Yep.
okay. And they're at 6 to 8:30?
I believe so. We can
Okay.
confirm that with you guys as well, though.
And I thought Mrs. Jorgensen brought up a very good question, class size of 50, and I heard what you said, but is there a cutoff point? If you had 51 kids, is that the cutoff point? What is your maximum for a classroom, the max?
So what I'll do is, I'm gonna have to go back and get you exact numbers, because I don't want to speculate on the numbers, but I do know there's clear ratios, and I can get you a document that shows you what that is, and I can provide that for sure. All right.
I think that would be important, but I also wanted to say thank you so much. I'm so happy to see the kids are coming up in their schoolwork. That's very impressive, and I really appreciate everybody's hard work. And that's all that I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming tonight. My comrades over here have asked most of the questions, but I do have a few. But first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to parents and teachers. I mean, we are where we are. The kids are what they are because of parents and because of good teachers. And I know you didn't talk about, or maybe you can't talk about teacher being cut since you're narrowing down maybe to 3 buildings or whatever it is. And I'm sure that conversation will come out on the 2 meetings if there's any cuts in teachers or any kind of help for the students. I also wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Robinson for meeting with me one-on-one to answer more detailed questions on time frame. We get these reports and they're almost 6 months out. And so the next time we won't see him is another quarter. So he explained to me how that works and how he was going to take some back to the superintendent to see if we could get up-to-date numbers, even if it's verbal. It may not be on here, but it may be verbal. You want to talk to that a little bit?
Yes, indeed. So Theo Robeson, Region 3 Superintendent. So one of the things that we did yesterday in our conversation in our learning and teaching meeting that we have every 2 weeks here in Clark County School District. So I brought this question back up to the group. And so we're going to try to do a couple things that you asked for. Is one, give you the actual raw numbers. So instead of seeing percentages, we can see the actual total number of students. And then the other part to it as well is do the second thing that you asked for too. So that sounds like something we're going to try to work on for the next report as well.
Thank you so much, because it's important to us. You know, we're looking at numbers and they're just numbers, but if they, like today you said 2.7 increase, lack of chronic absenteeism, which is really good. You didn't mention the Bright Walk program, which I thought was very interesting.
So thank you for asking for that information. So one of the things that we've done in regards to doing some interdepartment collaboration across the system, thanks to Superintendent Ebert, is that we've had Bright Walks where in the fall time and in the springtime we went and we knocked door to door on some of our chronically absent students or students that have, for whatever reasons, have not returned back to CCSD. And so we were able to learn a lot through that process. And so this was like a all hands on deck type of collaboration between HR, teaching and learning, the superintendent's office, and a variety of other employees in the system as well. And also we had some community members participating in that work too.
And literally going door to door.
Literally, I knocked on 10 doors myself, 5 in the fall and 5 in the springtime, where we literally are trying to provide information pertaining to if some families need counseling supports or transportation from the district supports. We're able to update them and provide them some access to those things. And in other places, we really learned that some of our students no longer live in the state and things of that nature. So it was a really good positive experience to really understand more of what's happening in our communities in order to ensure that our students and our parents know how they can still access the school environment.
I really like that, because you do get the parents engaged, and the neighbors for that matter. Also, you know, we talked about our children's academics, which is off the charts, but they're also off the charts for sports. And when we narrow down the buildings, that's less room for what they need to do when it comes down to sports. So I imagine that would be considered in the big scheme of things as well, because outside the school is just important as inside the school.
So they should still all have the same sporting teams that they have and win 139 state titles or even more, like we currently have here in Boulder
139.
City. So we know that's a huge part of the work and a huge part of what students and what parents and what our staff members value, is that not just the academic component to things, but also that athletic, and then also the other parts around all kind of other sorts of achievements that we have from robotics. And as Brandon McLaughlin was saying, the more that we look at how we can better build schools that better shape the future of what Boulder City is going to look like, then the more opportunity you have to spend on some of those extracurricular activities as well that our Boulder City kids do phenomenally well at.
And after-school programs as well, that's
program
always
as well.
connected with that. And my last question, I think you mentioned safety first, and that is paramount in the times that we're in now. With the 3 buildings, can you talk to how it's going to be that much more safer by putting the children in 3 buildings versus 4? I mean, the obvious is there, obviously, but.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go into maybe the why between 3 campuses. It's more so look at the characteristics of each of the 3. You look at the number of exterior openings on, say, Garrett Junior High School. That's a security threat in and of itself. So getting them under one roof, where maybe there's one single point of entry, and you've got some egress doors, but that's part of the design of a future. And then also Martha P. King or Mitchell, if they have a little more outdated designs as well. And so just things we've learned, and I don't know if you've been to some of the newer elementary buildings in particular in town. Some over in Henderson I know that aren't too far of a jog, but certainly we try to funnel people to areas where adults can have eyes on them. And if students or others want to leave our buildings, maybe unauthorized as well, we have visibility to that. And so that's some of the perimeter training of our schools and the people that are in our buildings to look into.
Thank you. Actually, I had one last one. You mentioned the Board of Trustees, that they would have that final decision. So the 2 meetings that we have in April and May, will they be there, or you take everything back to them and then they make a decision, or do they come back to us before they make a final decision?
So it'll be, the trustees will not be at the April 1st or May 13th. That's with our planning team and district leaders, just to listen, to say, here's the draft options, here's the data points. You know, like I said, is there an option D that we're not exploring quite yet? And then we start to get into the granularity that Councilwoman Booth asked as well, around the costs and the other logistical things, like let's make sure we don't, shoot ourselves in the foot long-term on any of these and don't recommend something silly. So then the time frame in the fall would be to our trustees, but I'd say, and I think I picked up on the theme earlier, is, yeah, these are every 6 months, right? But the point of all this is to come together with our municipalities. And so even if it's separate and apart from Theo's quarterly update with you guys, our intention would be to at least get with your city management staff ahead of time, if not in a forum like this, to say, here's where we're currently at, and give some sort of update maybe in the early fall time frame as well.
What's the overall date of accomplishment of everything? Are you looking like 2 or 3 years down the road? That will be my last question.
Yeah, we have that 3.6 billion that I mentioned through 2034.
2034.
So part and parcel to what was approved of our update to the facility master plan last week was also what we're calling an early action plan. So it was things that in the draft options where some communities there wasn't options really on the table. They had balanced enrollment, they had high quality facilities, and so there was no capital investment necessary. Or there was a project in the works from long ago that still made sense. They still had enrollment growth or stability. And we were already underway with a project, say. And so there was a slate of schools that already moved forward on some of that. That takes us through about 2029 in particular. I think there's one that stretches out to 2030, but the action taken by our board in the fall or as early as the fall would then get us through that, say, 2034 timeframe.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the thorough briefing.
Thank you.
We've had a thorough covering of so many topics, so I'll keep my question or comment brief. So often we see a result of an endeavor that might end up flawed, and if we look back, it's because the process was flawed, right? And as you described the process, I'm actually kind of surprised, because Clark County School District is known for a lot of bureaucracy, or it has developed that over the decades, right? So, but in your description, so succinct and very clearly identifiable goals. And it gives me confidence, particularly because it's going to be a collaborative process. And you're involving the stakeholders and then looking holistically at all of the necessary components that I have confidence in now, hearing from you, that it will lead to the best result possible, right? There is no perfect end game. And so we look for that might have the least bad impacts and the most good impacts, and then do the best we can therein. So thank you for both of you. I'm just blown away by the fact that 100% of our juniors took the SAT. Were they financially incentivized to do that?
Good parents. Double check that 3 times to make sure I was putting this important information in here, but that's 100% of them took it.
Yeah, which means hopefully that they're looking for higher education, right? They're college bound. And then we can only hope that at the state level and other levels that there will be jobs for them to stay in our communities, right? And use that education to either come back or stay within our areas. And
that's a huge testament. And I just want to shout out Amy Wagner and the staff over there at Boulder City, because to have 100% of the kids take that is truly tremendous. So that's great work that they're leading over there.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. And all my other questions have been answered through questions from my fellow council members. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all. One of the things that maybe we didn't touch on is we have a boatload of people who come to Boulder City, and with that program now you can take somebody and bring them in here, and they play on our teams, they take the ACT, and your point about Boulder City kids actually have been multiplied by people who come from out of town to Boulder City schools for the very good reason that that's who they are, that's who the teachers are, and the culture, I guess they come for the culture of education. So how do you include that in your algebra of the kids that are coming to the school?
Brandon McLaughlin for the record. So yeah, there is a very healthy amount of what we call transference in, and there's also families choosing to leave Boulder City for their education. We won't talk about that. We'll just focus on if I'm reading my numbers right, we got 119 students that elect to transfer into, 176 opt to come to the high school level, 40 opt to come to the middle school level, and 66 come at the elementary level. They choose Boulder City over their options where they're zoned for. So that's a testament to the culture you guys have here. So they're open. They're able to come to all the same events that you guys just heard about, and we value their opinion just the same as everyone else. And also, wherever they might be coming from, I want to believe they're probably in the next zones or two over, right? But there's actually a great tool on the FMP website where you can actually see where those zones are coming from. You might have a straggler from, say, the Arborview zone, and that's a heck of a drive. But if it's worth it for them, families are going to make that choice. And there's also events up there that'll still speak to the condition of facilities we want across the district. So they'll still be able to speak to it, and they don't have to necessarily come out here just to make their voices known.
Appreciate that. And when we've had this discussion before, this isn't new, we invited, I guess, or our trustee came to the discussion. And so we're not penalized if we invite our trustee to come to our April 1st and May 13th. So we don't have to have a quorum, but we are interested in making sure our trustee hears what we are hearing.
Yeah, Brandon McLaughlin for the record. We can certainly let, I believe it's Trustee Stevens and Trustee Satori would be your county representative as well.
Good.
All right. So we can certainly convey them. They're aware of these dates as well, but we'll see about their attendance as well.
And when the bottom line as it comes, obviously, as we have fewer children coming through the ranks of everywhere, with the birth rate being down, as it were. We are going to be doing things that we haven't done before in ways that we haven't done them. But we appreciate the openness that the process is, to Councilman Walton's point about the process, that we recognize that we as a council, that's not the thing that we can actually be in charge of, but we certainly like to be in charge of everything we can. But we appreciate you coming and letting us have our say, and we probably will have our interest at heart, and our citizens, I know they'll come to our April 1st and May 13th, and appreciate the things that you're able to say and understand, and let them understand too. Any other question? Go ahead.
Just for a point of clarification with those two meetings, will the agendas be any different? And the information be any different from the April to and the May?
They will not be, there won't be repeat meetings. What they will be, though, is the first ones are intended, people need the knee-jerk reaction to what do we think about these options, and what's that one wild one that no one's thought of yet. So that's the time where we kind of flush out those preliminary ideas. The second one is where we kind of come back to it. We said, hey, here's the things we heard. And also if that one that someone recommended, right, if we formalize that and say, hey, that's actually a really good one, you start to see that column D filled in, and people can start responding to it like, oh yeah, Tammy mentioned that the last time, and so yeah, here it is formalized on the sheet, and yeah, we support that one.
Okay, so people really should come to both,
Yep.
Yeah.
not
100%.
just either or, it's and also. Okay, thank you.
So this question is to our clerk. How many of us can go to that?
You can all go to it, because that won't be an action ever of the city council over anything that's happening at the school.
So that's not our call, therefore we all can go.
Correct.
And we can participate.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Thank you both, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a good question.
So we have accepted that, and
Question?
we'll now move to number 9.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Boulder City residents. I am Julie Calloway, the Parks and Recreation Director for Boulder City, and tonight it is my pleasure to present item number 9, which is a presentation updating all of the community on the progress of the swimming pool project. Tonight you'll hear from the swimming pool team, which includes city staff, VCBO Design, and we'll be introducing Core Construction, which will be our CMAR construction company during this process. I do want to remind everyone of the hard work and many hours of the Ad Hoc Pool Committee, and tonight we'll be highlighting those recommendations in the design that you'll see in just a little bit. The committee's recommendations included elements that would attract the entire user group that is currently using our facility and much more. The main two elements that were recommended by the Ad Hoc Pool Committee were 2 separate pools, 2 different bodies of water to facilitate the major user groups at the pool currently. They also voiced additional recommendations and amenities that, should funding be available, they wanted us to explore those a little bit more if it was financially prudent to do some of their recommendations. As you can see on the slide, the 2 main bodies of water that they wanted to make sure were included was a swimming recreational pool and, of course, a competition pool. Their recommendation was for the instructional swimming pool to be 4 lanes, have adequate depth, to be able to be the perfect depth for the user group, so that some of my older ladies or older gentlemen that are in the water aerobics class, they might not want to get their hair wet, so we want to make sure that it's good for them, along with being able to be a good depth for our younger swimmers as well. As you can see on the blue slide, the blue writing, we have made a couple additions to that, to the recommendations from the Ad hoc Pool Committee, and we're excited to be able to share those with you. Instead of it being a 4-lane pool, we're recommending it being a 5-lane pool, and the design you'll see tonight is showing that. We'll also have the addition of a lazy river and a kids' play area. Those two elements were add-ons really from the Ad hoc Pool Committee, that if there was funding available, if there was a way, they would love to be able to make sure those user groups had amenities that would really attract them. As you know, right now, our current pool does have a wading pool for our toddlers and our youngest of Boulder City residents, and the kids' play area would facilitate that user group perfectly. The lazy river, which is another amenity that we're looking to add, would really be for all ages. It would have a current that runs through it, so you could go through it and have fun and play, and older and younger moms carrying their babies can walk through. It would be a slight current. So it would be a recreational area, and then you could also use it as a fitness area and go against the current and have to work a little bit harder to go around the lazy river. The extension of the teaching area is really needed. Right now, we have 4 lanes that we used for our water aerobics class, and we always have people waiting to make sure that they have space for the class. That's standing room only, because you do need adequate space for that. Regarding the competition pool, you'll see notated in the blue font, the recommendation was for a 10-lane competition pool. The Ad hoc Pool Committee thought that it was very, very important that we have a competition pool, and we're recommending and having the design right now be going to an 8-lane pool. We did reach out to the user groups. We reached out to Clark County School District, specifically their facility program, and to see if an 8-lane pool would negatively impact in any way their usefulness of it. And they said no, they could still do 2-team meets there, and they would probably utilize it for swim team practice, not just for Boulder City swim team, but also for probably another Henderson swim team to be able to come here to utilize it for swim team practice. We also reached out to our local Boulder City Heat Wave swim team to see if that would, going to an 8-lane would have any negative impact on being able to have competitions there, and they also said it wouldn't. So it's really been a nice trade-off. We were able to still have a very nice, large, usable competition pool and be able to add more features to really extend the user groups immediately in the recreational pool, because that's also, your recreational pool is also your open swim area. So we were glad that we could do that. We were very fortunate. Last fall, we hired a assistant aquatics coordinator for our facility, and it happens to be a previous lifeguard for our pool. When she was in high school here, she was a lifeguard at our facility. She went on to swim for the Boulder City swim team and went off on a college swim team scholarship, and then came back and was a coach for the Boulder City Heat Wave. Katie Tyler has been instrumental in being able to really provide a lot of guidance and direction, especially regarding the competition of the pool. So I want to show one more slide for my part of the presentation, and that is just to show you what all the recommendations were from the Ad hoc Pool Committee, and let you know that you can see by the check marks that we were able to facilitate almost everything that they wanted, including where it says a diving board or climbing wall or play feature. We're going to have a diving board and climbing wall and play feature. There's 2 unchecked boxes in there, and they're really for good reason. In talking to our design team from VCBO regarding those 2 elements, roll-up doors, if you will, it's kind of like a garage door. Some of the pools in Henderson have them, and that was a recommendation if it was, financially responsible for us to do that. And in speaking with them and other pool operators that do have those roll-up doors, it is not the most ideal. In a large facility like this, your HVAC unit is really your workhorse of your facility, and anytime you change that airflow and bring in too much too much fresh air at once, it really throws off the mechanisms of the pool and the mechanics. So we were told that would not be in our best interest. And also, sorry to say that keeping the existing racquetball courts also would not be financially wise for us. The age of the facility, the condition that they're currently in, would not lend itself favorably to having a brand new facility added onto it. So those are the only two things that aren't moving forward. We are still on track for 2028 to have the pool open. Broadbent Park will be redone. It'll be a new focal point in town. The existing playground will be moved more centrally located, so it'll be off the beaten path. It'll be moved from off the beaten path more to the center of the park. And also the tennis courts will have a complete makeover by 2028, resurfacing of 2 tennis courts and resurfacing of the other 2 for pickleball. So instead of them being multi-use courts, they'll be specifically identified, 2 for tennis and 2 for pickleball. So everybody gets the best of what their sport is. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the next member of our team from VCBO Design.
Hello, I'm Pablo Gotay with VCBO Architecture. I've had the privilege to come in, oh, that got loud quick. I had the privilege to come and meet with you once more, but we just wanted to talk about the progress of the facility. Over here on the left, you can see the design of the exterior of the building. Part of the genesis for this design was looking at your high school and trying to tie it together, not necessarily as a brother, but maybe as a cousin, so that they had some relationship on the site. One could take away features from one and the other and realize they're tied in as Boulder City projects, but not the exact same. The other element we put in was this piece here, the tower at the front. We wanted it to take away some of the lettering from your existing pool and kind of bring back the historical imagery there. On the right here, you'll see the plan. One of the questions we often get is, why are the 2 pools separate? Because it would seem like if they were together, it would be easier to run them on one system and things. But what's important to note is they need to be at 2 different temperatures. The lap pool is usually down at about 80 to 82 degrees. The activity pools, a lot of the people working out like them to be warmer. So it becomes very hard to keep both sets of people happy if the pools are connected. We also have set some bleachers, spectator seating, here in the back near the lap pool. We're planning for about 150 to 200 people to be able to attend events. I think down here is a rendering. I think everybody back there has seen this, but so this is our interior rendering. You can see the lazy river, the kids play feature. There's been talk about a future Ninja Cross potentially. That's kind of a hanging athletic event for kids. The one thing that we do want to talk about too is that the play equipment at the zero entry beach area for the smaller kids needs to be low. So sometimes you see these huge pirate ships and things. We intentionally keep it low here so that your lifeguards can see over the top of it, and it takes less lifeguards to run the facility because they are able to maintain a visual inspection of all the kids in the pool without having to keep multiple guards around the bigger play feature.
Where's the diving board going to be located, and will it be able to be used in competitions for the high school?
So the diving board will be at the end of the lap pool. We will have a 13-foot deep lap pool at the one end. The idea is that the rock wall and the diving board will be used independently. So they can't be used at the same time. The reason for this is because you only want so much 13 feet deep water because you have to heat it and there's an expense to it. But during competitions, the rock wall would be closed off and you could jump off the boards for any event.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
Wait, I had one.
Yeah. I was trying to get away.
I know, I saw that. The ADA entrance, where is that going to be, and who will be able to utilize, or will they be on both pools or just one?
So the way we treat the ADA equipment is it's rather expensive, but we still want to be efficient and mindful of the people who need to use it. And so there will be one ADA lift, but there will be holes at both pools so that the equipment can be moved, so that in the event somebody wants to use the activity pool or somebody needs to use the lap pool, the equipment can be adjusted. And that saves obviously a big expense in having two different systems, one for each pool.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
That's the only question I actually had, the ADA accessible, but I love the design that it looks like the high school. It just, everything meshes together. And the last renditions that we saw didn't have the lettering on it, and they wasn't sure if that was going to be. And so thank you for thinking about that historical part of the building that, it says pool and then Boulder City. And I understand there will not be a snack bar at all, anything like that.
No, we've gone away from concessions.
Session.
Generally speaking, they actually don't make money. And one of the big reasons is because of the infrastructure you have to put in to make them work. For example, a soda machine requires a grease separator that becomes very expensive on the upfront, and it takes room out in your parking lot. Again, any coffee machine includes the same. And then any live cooking, obviously then the health department has to investigate. Sometimes you have to have hoods. It's just not really financially feasible, especially with the upfront costs that come with it.
I do like the different apparatus. I think there's going to be more people using this pool because there's so much more, for them to come. Like they're going against the grade for the exercisers. That's going to be really good. You got ADA, very well thought out, laid out. Thank you. And I'll listen to the rest of your briefing.
Anybody else?
I have overall site question for Director Callaway, please. I'll use the top drawing here on your right, our left, as the reference. So on that drawing, the yellow little main entrance and that line closest to you, yep, that vertical line, that's facing south, so towards the current parking lot of what we're calling Sixth Street, right?
So another reference point would be the Girl Scout building
Yeah.
and the multi-purpose room.
Right. And so I'm noticing that the loading dock is basically where the current playground is, which you said it will be moved. So my question is, where will that be moved to in the overall site of it all?
Yeah.
I just so happen to have this rendering.
Oh, I must have missed it on that one.
I drew it while we were waiting.
So you can see the tennis courts are in brown because we haven't resurfaced them yet. And the playground will be moved right into the middle of Broadbent Park.
Okay, I see that now. Thank you. And so that area that we currently use for parking for the tennis courts, that's going to be the access road for the trucks that come in for loading, right? And so will that be the same parking area for the tennis courts, or will that be vacated as parking and then, move to 6th Street and then walk to the courts in a different way? Or
So that will still be used as the parking for the tennis courts. I know it's odd to have a truck loading coming through there, but when you're talking about a pool facility, there's very infrequent traffic.
Yeah.
All they're bringing in is some chemicals once in a while. So we're not worried about the conflict of cars in the truck because it's not a frequent enough event to really concern us.
Okay. Will that parking area, or that's asphalted, will that be pushed a little bit to the north into what is some of the grass there, or will it remain the same size?
It's remaining exactly
Same
where it
size.
is.
Okay. Great. I don't have any questions, but to you, to Julie, and general comments, this is awesome. And I'm so glad that the stakeholders have been involved. It looks like we've made some trade-offs You know, we can reduce a little bit of the lanes here, which is okay with the stakeholders, add some features there, which serves the community in a broader way. And you know, I did hear some input from folks that while we believe that those rolling overhead doors are a great idea when the weather's good here, everybody I've talked to that has knowledge and skill or experience in building institutional pools say, bad idea. And that is carried forward here. We're not going to do that. And I appreciate all the detail and all the good work. And I think I can speak for all of us. We're really excited about proceeding forward. So thank you for your work there.
I just want to mention one other thing on the overhead doors that Julie didn't hit on, is that they're an extreme maintenance issue. And so part of our design for the pool is to try to limit maintenance. I mean, you already have a pool that requires more of your time and more of your money than actually basically building a new one. So part of our thinking in this is let's take out all the maintenance heavy things so that this can last a long time with limited resources from the city.
Mayor, I have one question.
You want to say anything? So obviously, we're going to do away with the present pool completely, as well as the racquetball courts. How many levels of pools are we going to have to make sure that we cover up adequately to build the foundation for that? It seems to me we've had a pool, another pool, and that brings me to my other question. Can we use the bubble for another convention center?
Well, I'm building a pool in Richfield City where they're using a bubble over it, so maybe they can purchase that from you.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
But just so you do know, we've done extensive geotechnical testing to understand what is below the pool. Obviously, with the existing pool there, we can't go through the middle of it, so that will be something we find as we build, but we've gone all around the outside to get our best knowledge that we can obtain at this time.
Thank you, looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I have one last question.
We're going to hear from our engineer, King. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Jim Keene. I'm your city engineer. I just wanted to give you a quick refresher on the construction manager at risk process and where we're at, why we're using it, things of that nature. Construction manager at risk, also known as CMAR, is a procurement process that gets you the best value out of your project. It's not necessarily the lowest cost. You're looking for the best value, the best product at the end. You reduce change orders and you eliminate claims is the big goals. We get there by having better team collaboration, hiring the CMAR, the contractor, early on in the process. That gets them to give us pre-construction services. They'll be reviewing the plans as we're developing the plans. They'll be doing cost estimates so that we stay within budget, things of that nature, so we can shift and make changes as we need to as we're going along through the design and completing that. Like I said, it helps us manage and reduce our risk, and then at the end, we get to a guaranteed maximum price at the end of design, and that's what we build the pool for. Currently in the process, we've hired VCBO. That was back in July when we were here last time. VCBO has, as you can see, progressed the plans through schematic design to about 30%. We've advertised a request for statement of qualifications for this construction manager at risk, the contractor that we're going to have on board. We received 8 submittals. We reviewed those and shortlisted to 2 firms to interview, Core and Whiting Turner. The evaluation committee determined that Core was the best firm to move forward with the project. So we've already negotiated a scope of work and fee for those pre-construction services, and Core's under contract for that right now, and they've started reviewing these and preparing their first cost estimate. So the next steps are to complete the design. Once we get done with design, we'll negotiate the guaranteed maximum price, and then we go ahead and we start construction, and hopefully build the project with no to minimal change orders and no claims. Goal is to, right now we're looking at completing design by late summer 2026, hopefully begin construction in the fall of 2026, and then like Julie said, be ready to start swimming in late 27, early 28. And then to wrap up, like I said, utilizing CMAR is to get us the best final product at the best value. When we were here back in July to hire VCBO, I said the CMAR process would give us the best bang for our buck. But as I was getting ready for this presentation, I was like, that's not really what we want. We're building a pool. We want the best splash for our cash.
Good tagline. Good tagline.
And I think the team that we put together, VCBO, CORE, and our staff, will get us that splash. So with that, I'd like to introduce Mark Hobaika with CORE, and he'll let you know who CORE is and what they bring to the team.
Well, I'm not sure how I can follow up with that. But good evening, Mayor Hardy and council members. My name is Mark Hobaika. I'm the Executive Vice President of CORE Construction here in Southern Nevada. And as Jim said, I just wanted to give you a brief understanding of who we are as a company and why we're so happy and proud to be part of this project. If you know our name, CORE, we've been here in Boulder City a long time. We actually rebuilt the high school over about 10 years, replaced and rebuilt and modified everything there. So we were out here in Boulder City a long time, so we know this pool and this location extremely well. I wanted to go through just a few things again about CORE. We're a company that's been around for 89 years, but we've been here in Southern Nevada for 41 years. And we've been built on a culture of, next slide, you'll see team and trust. It's really all about putting together the right team. As Jim said, with him and Gary and Julie and VCBO and us and our trade partners, that's the right team to put together. And we want to earn that trust and build upon it and maintain it and really deliver you on a sensational project. Our values in the middle there are really about integrity and fairness and always doing what's right, even really when nobody's looking, giving you the best product and continually improving and, again, giving you the results that you deserve. And then the client decides. The construction manager at risk process is all about collaboration and partnership. And you, the owner, end user, the citizens, really, they're a part of that process, and they should be able to be part of every decision that's made, not only in the design, but also as we go ahead and build it and you spend the money to build it. The next slide just shows you who we are as a company. As I said, we're 89 years old. We're in 8 states, but we focus in the West. We've been in Arizona and Nevada and Idaho and California. But here in Las Vegas, I have about 75 employees that I oversee, that we build public works projects. But we focus on the public works, CMAR, when it comes to education, public safety, civic, recreation. That's really our bread and butter, where we do our best work. The next slide here shows you our office here in Southern Nevada. This is in Las Vegas. We're just up the road about a half hour, and we built this building. This is actually a LEED Gold building that we built, designed, and built ourselves. Next slide. As Jim said, the CMAR process is a great way to give you best value and best product and best quality of a facility. And the CMAR process is something that we've been doing since it was allowed by statute back in 2008. And so from that time, we've built over 175 buildings using the construction manager at risk. And we've probably worked for almost every agency in the state, from north to south and everywhere in between. I wanted to show you just a few projects that we've done and how they're relevant to the Boulder City Pool project. This is our most recent project. This was our Moana Springs Community Aquatic and Recreation Center up north for the city of Reno. This one, similar to yours, the first pool was built in 1905. So 125 years ago, we had to take out probably 3 or 4 pools to build this new pool. And it's a beautiful facility, has about 50,000 square feet. It has 7 50-meter lanes and 12 25-meter lanes, recreation of 3-meter, 1-meter dives, has an outdoor pool, has a lazy river, very, very similar. Next project that I wanted to highlight was our Centennial Hills Community Center. This is for the city of Las Vegas that we built about 15 years ago. It's indoor and outdoor, but it's a complete recreation center. It's a 100,000 square foot recreation center, but it has the indoor lap pools, outdoor lap pools, zero entry, slides, splash pads, you name it, for that facility. The next project was a pool that we built up in Ely for White Pine County. Very similar to yours in just size and scope, just because this was about a 35,000 square foot facility, all indoor. It had 2 pools, lap pools, recreation, climbing wall. Again, for a community that was in much need of a recreation pool right next to their high school. So very similar. And then for Battle Mountain, up in Lander County, we did another facility up there it's very similar, indoor pool, outdoor recreation, splash pad, soaking tub. Again, a nice facility for a community in need up there as well. And then UNLV, we remodeled and rebuilt their Buchanan natatorium from inside out. And essentially, we created a state-of-the-art competition pool for them. At that facility, there is 8 50-lane lap for competition. They have about 1,200 spectator seating for that one as well. If you're familiar with this one, it's a great facility. That's where they hold all the competition for UNLV and their collegiate athletes. And then another project we did for City of Las Vegas. This was an outdoor pool in the kind of the center of Vegas for the Garside area, which is really a seasonal pool. It's all outdoors, but we replaced the bathhouse, the locker rooms, showers, and it has lap area, recreation slides, splash pads, you name it, but it's a seasonal pool. And I think the last one I wanted to show you is just really kind of iconic. This is on the north shore of the big lake up north, the Blue Lake. Yeah, thank you. No, this is truly a spectacular view of by Incline Village up on the North Shore, and we essentially rebuilt this entire pool and the bathhouse and recreated a state-of-the-art facility for them. Again, it's a seasonal pool, but it's a beautiful facility. Again, I think I just want to show you some of the experience that we've done as a company and that I've done as well in this leadership role. We want to take all those experiences and lessons learned and expertise and work with the team here to really provide you and build you the best pool for Boulder City. So thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Please stay.
Yes, sir.
Your resume here is phenomenal. Could you share with us where you honed and perfected your skills, engineering, maybe at a neighboring community?
Sure. So let me start by saying that I've been here in Southern Nevada for 35 years. I've only been with Core Construction since 2018, but for me personally, I was the city architect and assistant director of public works for City of Henderson for 17 years, where I oversaw design, construction, and facilities maintenance and park maintenance for all that time I was there. So I have a lot of experience, and I've brought that to Core to really sit on your side of the table and understand what your needs are, and try and understand the maintenance issues. When Pablo talked about making this facility less maintenance and allow you to spend your money the right way, that's the way I always saw things as well. So at Core, we're going to do that same thing for you with that philosophy of really building a high quality facility, durable, that is low maintenance, that your maintenance facilities folks have to spend more time on other facilities, and really this could be self-sufficient. So that's where I come from. But Core Construction, we have a lot of experience in the public works area and recreation facilities and pools, as you've seen. But I think there's a good combination of all that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that coming from your background sitting on the side of public works and understanding what maintenance and operation costs are and the headaches and the fact that there's not just an endless pot of money to perform maintenance, that we have to make it as absolutely operationally efficient as possible, and maintenance as a big consideration. So I think you bring that also to the table with us, and I think that's going to pay off for us in great dividends. This is a question for whoever our city manager thinks it's for. I think the $60,000 question is, we talk about cost and value, splash for our cash. So the question is, the voters have approved up to $9 million from the voter-approved capital improvement project on top of the money that we've been collecting from the takedowns of Track 350 and other funds. Where do we believe today, and, nobody has the crystal ball that's going to tell us exactly where do we believe we're going to land in that world.
I might have Julie comment on it as well, but I would just say that my understanding is that 9 million, up to 9 million is sort of a cushion. It's probably too early to tell how far into that we will go, but we're glad that it's there in case we need it. But I think that's part of having CORE and Mr. Holbaika on board and working with our team to contain the costs as much as possible to provide a high-quality facility, but at the lowest cost possible.
And it is right now a little bit too hard to tell exactly how far into that up to 9 million we'll be going. But I will tell you that staff and our entire team is looking for other means to possibly handle some of the expenses. For example, one of the things that Pablo mentioned was the Ninja set, and we're going to reach out to local businesses to see if somebody might want to provide name ownership and a monetary contribution for that particular amenity. We also have some other features that if we have enough money, we will move forward, and if not, we can pull back. So throughout the entire process, the budget and us making sure that we provide what's best for the community without stretching what the community trusted in us with that up to 9 million is definitely on our forefront, and we want to make sure that we honor our community in what we bring forward.
Excellently stated. I think that hits my sentiment. I can't speak for the others, but I think it's important. The community had the trust, right, to vote to approve that up to $9 million, and then our obligation is to not push it to the very limit of that and maybe ask for an extra 1 or 2 somewhere, but to keep it well within that range. Maybe only dip into it minimally, if at all. And I am grateful for what this does for our community. It isn't for council, it's not for staff, it's for everybody, young and old, in our community of all ages, varieties, capabilities. It's just really going to serve our community well, and I think this is going to be just an awesome contribution to lovely and beautiful, clean, green Boulder City. So thank you all.
Thank you.
I just want to echo what he said and also say maybe this is a way we can fill our schools up, but get them back up to full potential. But I so appreciate the complete picture that you guys are working together to create, and not just the picture of, oh, what are we going to build, but what's it going to look like for us as a city to operate it after, and what's it going to look like for a community to use it and utilize it, and hopefully for a very long time, because we don't build it on top of the other pool in a way that wouldn't allow us to use it for a very long time. So I just absolutely love that the littles can use it. And maybe one of the benefits of having 2 different pools is I know that my grandson might or might not have dropped a little something in the pool where he was swimming, and then you have to shut the pool down, that section of the pool down. So 2 different pools, maybe. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but it's a fact, right? It's a fact of pools. And when you have those play areas and you have all those things. So this is going to give people, like we just said, the chance to come do water aerobics. Quite a few more people. I've seen the list for that, and that's pretty big. But I will also say this. On my way over here, I talked to Julie about this. I passed the pool, and it was packed. The parking lot was packed. Kids were coming out with parents, older individuals, which were probably my age, coming out, having used the pool, and I was just happy. I was happy because I think this is a gathering place for Boulder City and our community, and I think it represents us as a community. So I'm very looking forward to this process, and echo the words that I love that you're being financial stewards and using wisdom in how we utilize the funds that have been given and entrusted to us, basically, by our residents to produce something that will be lasting for them. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to echo the same. You guys, it sounds like we've got a wonderful team working for us. And my hat off to Julie and her team for hiring the people that are there, because you've designed something that is just, it blends in our community, and we have somebody managing for us that's very skilled. And so I really appreciate what the team has done in hiring this group of people to take care of it. So it'll make us look good. I like that. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
So the pool is a long time coming, and expectations were high, and I think so far you've above and beyond. So looking so forward to being there. I just have a question. What is the flooring? What kind of material are you using on the flooring of the pool?
So there's two options. One is a far more expensive system. It's called
Sorry.
starts with an M.
An expensive version.
Anyway, it's basically a rubber membrane that works like a bathtub
Membrane.
would, basically. It's far more expensive. The beauty of it is it lasts forever. But I don't think that's a great investment in your funds at this time. So the pool itself will be a shotcrete pool. So we do put a finish on the bottom so it has enough texture so people don't slip, but it also has to be fine enough so that we're not ripping up people's feet or injuring our younger kids when they get on their knees and play in the splash area. So it's something we've been cognizant of.
It's beautiful. Can't wait for the finished product.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Appreciate the presentation. I just wondering, I'm going to ask Mark offline if he's got a swimming pool planned for Pine Valley, Utah, but I'm not going to ask him at this point. Obviously, this will be, our current pool will be out of commission starting on what day?
I will tell you this, we are not putting the bubble back up in the fall. So sometime in the fall, this year the bubble went back up, I believe it was the beginning of October. So I'm going to say early fall. We do not have a date as of yet.
So we'll be able to swim all summer long.
Affirmative.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, thank you very much. We will, if we're finished on number 9, we'll take a recess, and we'll come back and take up number 10 on the agenda.
Halfway.
She said she went to Disney World when you guys go. Oh, because I asked her, what's the Disney World?
5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Come on in.
These chairs, they're like comfy but cumbersome.
Yep.
That's the word I'm gonna give them.
Yep, they are.
So we'll take comfy.
Who's up next?
They are, Steve is not here.
I'd like to welcome everyone who's in the hall back to City Council or anywhere in the building. So we have finished number 9. We'll go to number 10, presentation by our city manager.
Good evening, Mayor Hardy and members of the council. I'm City Manager Ned Thomas, and I'm here to present to you a quarterly update on the city's strategic plan. By way of reminder to the public, the council adopted the 5-year strategic plan back in October of 2024. So we're almost a year and a half into the plan, a little under that. This quarterly update will highlight projects completed or work in progress on or by various city departments over the past 3 months. So it's a relatively limited time frame in alignment with the 7 strategic plan goals and the 39 strategies under each of those goals. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. Again, by way of reminder to the public, these quarterly updates are not intended to provide a comprehensive overview of all work over the past year and a half, but it is a snapshot in time of progress being made over the past 3 months. And in your meeting packet, you'll have the staff report with an overview and background information on the city's 5-year strategic plan, also a copy of my PowerPoint presentation. And there's also a copy of the strategic implementation plan. It's organized by short, medium, and long-term strategies, and it's also color-coded to indicate the status of each strategy. Yellow means in progress, green complete, and purple ongoing. We also have orange for on hold or red for any strategies that are stopped. But we currently don't have any of those categories, so everything is either in progress, complete, or ongoing. I'll talk a little bit more in a minute about what it means to be complete. I'll also note that some of the items include data that correspond to the council approves success factors and metrics. This is the 3rd column in that table, and those were just items to kind of track our progress. What are the measures that the council would like us to track for each of the strategies to show some of the progress that we're making. So at the end of the presentation, I'll welcome any comments and questions. And I would also note that there may be additional work that's in progress right now, but we're either not far enough along or we expect to be completed, so I'll report out on that on future quarterly updates on those projects or when we have significant milestones that are reached. So if we could go to the first slide, please. Just as a reminder, there are 7 goals. These are the first 3. The next slide will have the next 4. So we are talking about 6 strategies under really a broad category of recreation and tourism offerings, a second goal around prudent financial stewardship. Right now we're in the middle of the budget process, so there are a couple of strategies under this goal that pertain to that, and then there are some other things related to longer term, an analysis of longer term strategies for financial stewardship and sustainability. We'll talk about a couple of those. And then a third one on maintaining community character through the growth control ordinance. And if we go to the next slide, the other 4 goals then are revolve around historic preservation, dependable and reliable infrastructure. I'll note on this one that some of the projects, for example, the pool project that we just looked at, that's a recreational amenity, so that could easily fit under goal 1. It's dependable and reliable infrastructure. We talk about it here, talk about that here tonight. But as you saw, a portion of that pool is ADA accessible, so it could easily, we could touch upon that on goal 6 as well. So I just use that as one example of a lot of these larger projects will check boxes underneath many of the goals as they're very broadly written. And then finally, a 7th goal around maintaining high levels of public safety. So if we go to the next slide, please. Oh, we also included this a little graphic just to demonstrate general progress being made to date toward implementation of the 39 strategic plan strategies. And I'll touch upon the strategies, but we wanted to give an idea, and you'll see many of the strategies that we work on, they're just ongoing, the ongoing work of the city, or things like the budget process. It's something that's not really completed, but it's ongoing year after year during the 5 years of the strategic plan. But there are several of the short-term strategies that we've identified as being complete. And I'll just mention there that being complete, I might add a word, they're substantially complete. So if you take a snapshot, you can say, oh yes, we've completed that project. But many of these, and well, I'll jump into it on goal 1 in just a minute, but it's showing green on the table, and it's showing it's complete. And we could say, yes, it is complete, but is the work done? Not really. So we could call it ongoing, but it's substantially complete. So we wanted to at least show the progress that's being made on some of these shorter term goals, and then medium term. And then there's some longer ones that we're currently working on. The pool is listed under here as a long-term project or long-term strategy, but and at some point we'll show some progress on that one as well. I won't belabor that point too much. If we could go to the next slide, please. So we'll start with goal 1, which is, again, maintaining high-quality recreation and tourism offerings for residents and visitors. I will mention here that I'm going to just talk a little bit. We've identified a couple of things here. Again, not a comprehensive overview, some things to highlight. So you may have heard during the presentation tonight from the school district that our deputy city manager, and I believe he has, do you have Julie working with you on that, Michael, with the school district? I think on the, and Lisa, yes, and Lisa, excuse me, working with them to promote this idea of open enrollment. Again, you heard tonight that our school population is declining, and because the Clark County School District has an open enrollment policy, we're promoting both the safety of the community as well as the amenities in the community and the quality of the education and the opportunity. I know tonight it was mentioned about out of the classroom in the sports field and some of the opportunities that are available there. So promoting that use, having the city collaborate with the school district on promoting enrollment and this idea of open enrollment and coming to Boulder City and some of the benefits of doing that. And then strategy 3, increasing knowledge about our city assets and amenities. We'll be coming back in April with a report from Julie, our Parks and Rec director has been working with a citizens group at council's direction to identify alternatives to off-leash dog recreation at Veterans Park, specifically at Pratt Field. And they've met a couple of times, and they've had good success in coming up with some recommendations or proposals for the council to consider. So an idea under that. I'm going to look at a couple of other things here too that caught my mind. So one of the short-term strategies has to do with expanding affordable, accessible, diverse recreational offerings, especially those that serve youth. And I noticed that these quarterly reports are generated. We'll send out a call for input on the table from the different department directors, and they'll put in some of the things that they or their staff have been working on. I noticed, it's a small thing, but Julie, our Parks and Callaway, our Parks and Rec director, noted that they've offered a new class in 3D printing for youth, specifically ages 8 to 12. And that's kind of an interesting thing. And then also offered a new pool class. It's an adult swim for fitness. But again, this is one of those. I think it's a good example of it showing as complete, because we're continually or have offered and have met the action steps that are listed here. But we don't want to say, rest on our laurels and say, well, we're never going to do this, again for the next 4 years. We will continue to add things here as they come up. Let's see, just one last thing on a couple of other things on this, under this goal. The Muni Golf Course Turf Reduction Water Conservation Program began in January. Again, that fits under a strategy for recreational offerings. to continue to support, plan for, and manage Boulder City's physical recreation assets and amenities. And the golf course is one of those recreational assets and amenities. And, so we have this one-time project that is a big ticket project, but we're doing that as a capital improvement program where we improve the water conservation, but also the management of the golf course by replacing in this case, the irrigation system, which has reached its useful life. A couple of other things on here. Pickleball courts recently underwent warranty repairs. So you might have noticed, it was brought to my attention that they were closed for a few days, and they were in there doing some repairs that were under the warranty. And also, I know it's been of interest to the council that staff is acquiring bids for the court lighting at both the pickleball courts and the basketball courts, and that's ongoing. So again, shown in yellow on the table here because it's an ongoing project. And when we complete that, we'll be back in a future update to talk about how that was done. And then, of course, in 2 words, we could fulfill this great goal. The presentation that you just received, which is a long-term goal of, initiate and complete construction of the community swimming pool, which is strategy 1.4 under this goal. And as you saw, we're well underway on that project with the selection of both the design team and now the CMAR, and we're looking forward to construction beginning later this year. So we'll go to our next item. Oh, sorry, I already covered these, but yeah, the selection of the pool, and then, oh no, yeah, back to the next one. Yeah, covered the pool. Oh, I should mention too, under this one, these tourism offerings, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Strategy 6, where promoting Boulder City as a destination for tourism. We had a very successful program in November and December with the Boulder City Passport Program. The Passport Program itself was a lot of fun, but the working with our communications manager, Lisa LaPlante, and developing an ad campaign. I think it was noted on here, the broadcast ads reached 380,000 views, and then we passed out over 400 passports. A couple other things, we had a spend on some digital billboards. There were 40,000 plus displays, and then online and targeted email, over 200,000 views and over 50,000 views on social media. So again, easily fulfilling the strategy here of promoting Boulder City as a destination for tourism, but also the strategy there of developing and funding targeted communication campaigns, publicizing, well, this says recreational, but publicizing Boulder City as a destination. All right, and now we'll go to the next one. Our next goal, number 3. And the next slide after that one. And the next one after that. There we go. So our goal number, sorry, the number isn't on there, but it is goal 3. Or it's goal 2, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. And, Yeah. So goal number 2, I mentioned here, one of the strategies 2.2 is to conduct the annual budgeting processes with a focus on accuracy in budgeting and forecasting and fiscal sustainability and presenting a balanced budget to the City Council. So we did that last year. This is marked as one that's completed, but we'll do this each year of the 5-year strategic plan. And I would note again that some of the things that are noted on there, well, it's on the next page, it's under strategies, increasing fiscal and budgetary transparency. So we're in the budget process. We will have a community budget workshop is scheduled for April the 1st, and then we will have a City Council budget workshop scheduled on April 21st, as well as individual briefings with the council members prior to that meeting. In addition, the Finance Department, as noted here, continues to, this is the second one under Strategy 4, they've put out 8 different budget reports. Those are available online. They've also have a digital budget book and a lot of other offerings related to the budget on the city's website. Now, the first item here is that this is a longer-term goal a longer-term strategy under this goal, but it's to diversify revenue streams for long-term financial sustainability. So obviously this is a longer term goal, and we do have the finance department working on a number of items that would bring additional revenue or diversify the revenue for the city. The one that I found interesting is they're evaluating potential opportunities for additional revenue generation through the land leases, fee adjustments, and investments. And the example is that there are lands that are west of, it's Copper Mountain Solar 3 project, so it's on the west side, up against the mountains. So those areas were deemed unsuitable. I would say inappropriate, but not inappropriate. Unsuitable for solar generation due to the shadows that are cast by the hills in the late afternoon. However, they may be ideal for battery storage, and since battery storage is now is something that the city is doing, there's an opportunity for us to look into that. So some of the analysis, as one example, some of the analysis that the finance department is looking at is, well, what would the battery storage, how much space is there available, and how much battery storage might fit there, an estimate, and what revenue would it generate for the city. And that revenue would, for battery storage is very interesting because it's not just the land lease, which is a significant item, but also in working with our city attorney, we've identified other types of fees, such as a capacity storage fee for the batteries, as well as a potential public safety surcharge that could be levied onto those types of developments. So again, fitting under this idea of diversifying revenue streams for long-term financial sustainability of the city. A couple of other things under this one, and then I'll move on. Oh, I found this really interesting. The Public Works Department is currently evaluating the future implementation of what's called a telematics program, and this is, my understanding, this is a device that goes on city vehicles, and we've initiated a pilot project, and it will measure, it will show where the car is going, where it's been, when it's idling, how fast it's being driven. So it will give you a lot of data to protect that asset, the mobile assets of the city for the vehicles. And I think that, again, that will be one that I'll report on probably in a future meeting, but it was listed here, and I found that interesting. A couple of other things just to touch upon here. Talked about I guess that was everything. We touched upon the budget book and the digital online book. So we'll go to the next slide. So the next goal 3, is maintaining community character for the growth control ordinance. This is one that's kind of interesting. Under the short-term strategies, this is one that's in progress. It talks about streamlining the business licensing services and associated processes. So you will see up here that we've following the success factors and metrics identified in the strategic plan, we've identified 2 or 3 things where you can maybe draw an inference of whether, I don't know if it's a direct indication of streamlining the business licensing services, but we're using it as a measure of success in this area, or at least increased activity. So between 2023 and 25, you see here a substantial increase in new applications processed. And then this idea, there's both contractor licenses and the business licenses. And seeing this bullet point, you might say, well, why does it take so long to process a business license? Well, they will come in and make the application, but then my understanding is that there are certain inspections that are involved. Sometimes it involves a fire inspection, sometimes it involves a building safety inspection. So it does take a little longer time, but that's one area where we can work to shrink that down as much as possible. I think that having our full-time building official on board, and all reports that I'm receiving is that that's worked out very well because he's very both business friendly but customer friendly. And so that's one area. And then as he works together with, we still have our contract inspector on board if there's ever a time when there's an overlapping inspections. And in the past, where you only had one part-time inspector, it made it difficult for them to get around in a timely manner. But now we have a little bit more capacity to do that more quickly. And then working with the fire inspector as well. Let me see if there was anything else on this one in particular. Oh, yes. Under the medium term, we had a strategy audit and as needed, amend current codes and policies to reduce barriers to commercial development. I might take out the commercial to say policies to reduce barriers to development. So we are, I believe the RFP is, we've received responses to an RFP that went out for an update to the zoning ordinance. And, you know, an update to the zoning ordinance is a very large project, kind of once maybe every 20, 30 years. You might, I don't know how old our current ordinance is, but it is woefully outdated, and give lots of examples of that. But having an updated ordinance that's very clear and user-friendly for both the business community as well as developers will go a long way toward meeting this particular strategy. On a smaller sense, the Public Works Department recently worked on an updated encroachment permit. This will be very business-friendly in the downtown, for example, because what the encroachment permit does is allows those business owners who want to put tables in front of their cafes, for example, it gives them very clear rules and a very clear process for how they would go about doing that, and then who's responsible for upkeep and the maintaining the accessibility and those sorts of things. So whereas in the past it might have been a little ambiguous, now it's much more clear. So that's just, again, one example of meeting that goal and that strategy. And then if we could go to the next slide, historic preservation. I'll just touch really quickly upon this. Back in February, the city held a very successful historic preservation pop-up event. More than 7,000 saw the information in the weeks leading up to the event, and over 30 residents attended the event. And we had, I believe tonight on the agenda, on one of the consent items, was a grant, a historic preservation grant to a couple who will be making upgrades to their home, a historic home. So again, and they found out about that through one of our historic preservation events. So just an example, just one, but an example of a success and why we like to do those events. And I know the question came up in our briefings, and we will be looking at doing similar events in the future. And oh, yes, and then other things that we've done is having our communications team puts out a publication, the BC Insider. We've, number 16, focused on historic preservation and things related. And then just last month, we had a film crew here, I think it was on a Saturday, and they highlighted historic preservation. They were camped out here at the park at Wilbur Square, right on the corner by the big turbine, and among other aspects of Boulder City life, they talked a lot about historic preservation, because there they were right in the heart of our historic district, and what a unique aspect that is for our city in comparison to a lot of the other communities in southern Nevada. So the next slide, and we get into our next one, which is a very big goal on dependable and reliable infrastructure. Earlier today, we had an event here in the chambers with our Congresswoman Dina Titus, where the Utilities Department received a $1 million EPA grant for upgrades to our wastewater treatment system. A really great opportunity for the city, and in the comments that were made, there were indications that, well, this might be phase one or the first step, and there may be other money that's available. So again, under our strategic plan, it gives us guidance as to how we will use those funds and where we will go with that. A couple of other things under this goal, we are, as noted up here, in addition to the grant, and I sent out earlier, or the city manager's office may have sent out earlier today, an indication of how much in reimbursements that the city has processed from RTC since July of 2023, and it totals a little over $15 million. It's a substantial amount in reimbursements from the RTC, and we're very thankful. Is it back on? But okay, there we go. So we're very thankful.
15 billion or 15 million?
Million. 15, I'll give you the full, 15 million, he's got it down to the dollars and cents. So $15,338,448.48 in reimbursements. And that has all gone toward upgrades to our roads and streets. In addition to that, I don't have the amount, but we've received a fair amount also from the Regional Flood Control District as well. So we will continue to track that. Again, under this strategy, some of the success factors are annual investments in infrastructure and the diversity in the funding sources, so we'll track that as well. That was noted here. Oh, and just looking for comparison, last year at this time, the Public Works Department had processed $2 million in reimbursements, and this year we're up to $1 million. So, and then a couple of other things longer term. Public Works Department, just right outside the window here, we're doing the large project in the parking lot to make it more ADA friendly, and we have a lot of other projects that are waiting in the wings, both related to accessibility and water conservation in our parks. And certainly, I mentioned the replacement of the sprinklers at the entire irrigation system at the municipal golf course. And we will, right now, Wilbur Square also has a fence around because we will be replacing the irrigation system there as well. And those upgrades will improve not only water efficiency, but also the manageability of those assets. So, for example, when it's cloudy weather or it's rainy weather, then I think remotely they'll be able to turn the irrigation will either automatically go on or off, or they'll be able to manage it a lot more easily. And we do continue to work. I always have to put a plug in for our ADA Access Group. We continue to work with them, meet with them on a quarterly basis, and are working to identify and report out to them on all the various ADA projects that we're working on. Last thing is, not the least of which is the Public Works Department is now advertising. They have an RFQ circulating for what's called the ADA Transition Plan, and that will identify a number of different projects for the city working. Oh, request for qualifications. So like an RFP, but in this case, not a specific project, but just qualifications for firms that might be able to help with that type of a project.
Thank you.
So the next slide, please. We'll move on to Goal 6, which is health and accessibility. I just, I was going to, we'll talk upon this one. I'm sorry I'm going on and on, but there's a lot to talk about under this particular goal. So all of the water surface replacements, my understanding is this refers to a pilot project that we have where we're replacing some of the water meters with what's called an AMI. There's AMI and AMR reader, and I'm sorry I don't know what those acronyms stand for, but they're to our utilities department will be able to read those meters remotely rather than having the meter reader go and look at it. So it's a much more efficient way to provide the water and monitor the water service. We have various turf. We have the swimming pool project, all of these things we are, the golf course turf reduction project, and then other smaller projects that's mentioning here. The Nevada Way reconstruction will have phase 2, where there's some additional work that needs to be done, including the decorative crosswalks. There's some additional work on Colorado and then up on Park Street. And then, of course, ongoing work with our electrical utility. So, we'll go to the next slide, please. We have here, again, I've talked about accessibility a little bit already. It's very interesting, some of those funding from the RTC, some of that, 200,000 of that has been programmed for ADA and safety improvements that will be completed throughout this year, and I'll report on specific projects in future quarterly updates. We have the ongoing ADA access improvements at City Hall. We're working on the parking lot now. I'm assured that it will be done by this Saturday because we have Shakespeare in the Park coming at the gazebo, so it has to be done. They were there putting in the sidewalk. They're moving very quickly. And then they're also going to replace the bridge out here at some point so that it's, the way it's designed now is not exactly fully ADA friendly. And then I mentioned our regular meeting. So if we could go to the next slide, please. And then this is our 7th and final goal on maintaining high levels of public safety. At our last meeting 2 weeks ago, Fire Chief Morgan provided a very detailed report on the community risk assessment as well as needs within the fire department in terms of staffing and equipment and facilities and training and cost-benefit analysis. And we'll be bringing back based on some of that, and part of the budget process, we'll be bringing that back to the council for further discussion. Let me look just really quickly to see. I met with Chief Morgan yesterday. He mentioned to me they will be traveling to, I believe it was Minnesota or Wisconsin, one of those cold places, to provide some input on the new fire engine that has been ordered by the city. It has a very long lead time. I don't think we'll actually receive the fire engine until 2028, but that's moving along. And then there's various improvements over at the fire station, bathroom renovations and other things that have been completed. The emergency, there's a storage building for our emergency supplies that's just south of the fire station, and that's been completed, and they're working on filling that up and getting shelving and other things in, and then developing plans for an administration training building. So a lot of future things to come there that I can report on in future strategic plan updates as well. And I believe there's also an assessment. The police department has been working with a consultant on an assessment of their facilities and looking at 3 different options. I believe that's coming back to the council for discussion and consideration either in April or May. So again, more things to report on in the future. A little preview of coming attractions. But I'll end there. Again, just a snapshot of some of the work that the various projects and aspects of the strategic plan that staff has been working on various departments over the past 3 months. And we do appreciate your continued support with the work we're doing and direction.
So if we get a new fire station at some point, we have to put a fire engine in it. And we don't have a fire engine coming until 2028 or?
It'll be an additional fire truck to the ones that we have now.
Okay. I'm just trying to do the math.
Yeah.
Questions? Comments?
If I might, I'll yield to my fellow council member. You go ahead, Ms. Booth.
I just wanted to say, one of the things that I read in here is expand recreation with the focus on youth. And I think we really showed tonight how that's being done with our swimming pool, pickleball courts, moving playground equipment around so the kids still get to have that, and even being able to walk your dogs and working on projects like that. So I think for Boulder City, we love our recreation, and I think it really shows how well we're doing in that area. So thank you, and great presentation.
Thank you.
Steve?
Thank you. I just wanted to give a shout out to Julie. She's gone, but the community group meeting with the residents for the dog leash went a long way. They were happy with that briefing, and just that outreach is always good. And I just wanted to give her kudos for that, as well as the February pop-up for Mr. Mays for the historic district, and they obviously are looking for more meetings down the road, and you said that, maybe biannually, something like that, but you will be reaching out to the community again with that. The Nevada Way reconstruction phase 2. I know we had said whatever trees are taken away, you're going to replace. Is that a later phase? Just for
not here. They will replace those. I don't know if those trees will all be planted on Nevada Way, but they may be planted elsewhere in the community. But they will be, they will be replaced more than what was removed.
And I was just wondering what phase that would be, and I imagine that would be the end. That would be the last phase of that reconstruction. And then I had mentioned it in our briefing that Councilwoman Jorgensen had said it would be nice if we got a list of grants. I mean, a lot of money comes into Boulder City, and it would be kind of nice for the residents to see just how much people think on the outside of, especially today's gift. All that adds up to those who, think we spend too much money or whatever. A lot of it's coming from grants, and it would be kind of nice to see a list of grants. And the last one I had was, again, happy to see that the accessibility working group is going forward. And like you said, we could just look out the window and see how that's coming. So I know that they're happy with that as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that report. You had mentioned, I think earlier today with Congresswoman Titus, that you're reaching just about to your 1-year mark.
Yes.
Right, here with the city. And I think we all would say we've achieved a goal in keeping a city manager for 1 year at least and counting. So, yeah, and it's no small lift, really, to come into a city as the chief executive officer of the city and to learn all that there is. And so, props to you and to our staff, right? And to our deputy city manager who has helped, bring you up to speed on so many things, all our department heads, all our employees. I think there was a state of the city a while ago, something like Together We Serve. I don't know. There were hats involved. So. But really, it is a team effort. And I'd like to just take a step back for perspective for all of us. The first strategic plan, that the iteration that we're working from, was from 2015. Right? And I've said this, and I believe it wholeheartedly, no matter where we find ourselves in our endeavors, we can't help but stand on the shoulders of others that went before us. And we are doing that now. And so kudos to those who worked hard to develop the strategic plan versions that we're kind of building from today. And here we are 11 years on. And while it seems like a little bit of time, a lot of water is, crossed under that bridge, so to speak. And as I mentioned to our Clark County School District folks, if we know the process is good, the results have the potential to be good. And so let me just reiterate, this strategic plan is built from the mission and the vision for our community. The mission being to deliver outstanding services to enhance the quality of life within our community and our economic vitality and the safety of those who reside, work in, visit, or travel through the community. And our vision is committed to preserving our small town status with small town charm, historical heritage, unique identity, and proactively addressing our needs and enhancing our quality of life. And that's what our strategic plan takes us to. It's not just a plan with these goals popped out of, the metaverse, so to speak, but that we really have a purpose of where we're going. And these are very, very focused and specific and measurable. And so this report, as we have requested, maybe a few more updates instead of annually, just kind of see what we did or didn't do, but really to purposefully work towards these goals and to meet the mission and vision of our amazing community. And it was developed with community input, and the updates have community input. And as we go, we've had workshops, receive information from our residents, and we know what our mandate is going forward. And so this strategic plan is so crucial to us to actually accomplish these mission and vision that we have for the community. I won't go into specifics here other than I believe in the process. I believe in our goals, our strategies, our data that we're measuring. And if anybody were to say, we have an agenda, this is it, the mission and vision for Boulder City as carried out through our strategic plan. And thank you for your efforts, and to all our staff who are helping bring this about. And Mayor, that's all I have to say.
I waited to be last this time so that I wouldn't have to say everything, because it will already be said. I can count on my council persons up here, and the mayor probably. I'm not the last. He'll be next. But many hats that have been worn to make this go together. This is my going into my 5th year being here. So I saw the last strategic plan near the end of it, this one at the beginning and the development of it. And a wise person once told me that if you shoot for the moon, at least you'll make the stars. But if you never shoot for the moon, you'll stay on earth. And I think about that even with this, is you have to have a goal to be able to progress. And we have so many people who work here in the city, and they each have an important role. We have finance, public works, park and rec. They each cover a portion of life for this community that is important to them. And to make it all work, they have to have this plan to be able to know the direction for which they're going. And I'm so appreciative of measurable outcomes before us today. And the idea for the community to be able to see exactly what it is you're doing up here in this building or out in other buildings in the community where these employees and individuals reside and or take care of. There's a lot going on here. And for a community our size, you're getting a lot of splash for your cash or a bang for your buck, whatever you want to call it. You're getting it, and you're getting a lot of hard work behind the scenes. So thank you, and thank you for this presentation.
Thank you. Well done. Appreciate it. Thank you all for recognizing your role in this process. We appreciate, I appreciate all of you and what you've done and how you do it. So thank you, and thank you. That brings us to
11.
Bill number 11, an introduction of Bill number 2094. Is there a motion to introduce Bill number 2094 and waive the reading except for title?
I'll make the motion to introduce Bill 2094 and waive the reading except for the title.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bill number 2094, an ordinance of the City of Boulder City, Nevada, repealing Ordinance 1607, approving Agreement number 98A534F to instead approve by resolution Agreement number 98A534G, an amended and restated franchise agreement between the City of Boulder City and Waste Logistics Nevada Incorporated, DBA Boulder City Disposal, to delete duplicative language and provisions, establish charges to the City of Boulder City for trash pickup service in city parks, modify certain financial requirements, increase the number of annual employee holidays, and address other operational matters. This matter will be considered at the March 24th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Thank you. That brings us to number 12. Need an introduction motion for Bill number 2095 and waive the reading except for title.
I'll move to introduce Bill number 2095, waive the reading except for title.
Thank you. Bill number 2095, an ordinance of the City of Boulder City, Nevada, amending Boulder City Municipal Code, Title V, Building Regulations, Chapter 1, Building and Safety Division Administrative Code, Chapter 2, Building Code, Chapter 3, Electrical Code, Chapter 4, Plumbing Code, Chapter 5, Mechanical Code, Chapter 6, Swimming Pool Code, and Chapter 9, Energy Conservation Code, to adopt the most current building codes and the 2026 Building and Safety Division Administrative Code. This matter will be considered at the March 24th, 2026 Council meeting.
Thank you. And that brings us to item number 13. Election and appointment of 2 members and 2 alternates to Clark County 911 Emergency Response Advisory Committee. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you. This is Clark County has established a 911 Emergency Response Advisory Committee pursuant to NRS 244A.7645. The committee will oversee planning and recommend expenditure of 911 surcharge revenues. Boulder City is required to appoint 2 members and 2 alternate members. 1 member must be the police chief, and 1 member must be the chief law enforcement officer of the Municipal Code Marshal Division. So I would request that you appoint Police Chief Timothy Shea as the committee member, Deputy Police Chief Aaron Johnson as the alternate, and then appoint Chief Marshal Joe Guerrero as the committee member and Marshal Jack Broadbent as the alternate.
Thank you. Is there a motion to do such?
I move to appoint Chief Shea as a committee member and Chief Johnson as his alternate, and Chief Marshal Guerrero, and it has alternate Marshal Jack Broadbent.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, unanimous. That allows us then to go to City Council, City Manager.
Yeah, I've got two reports. The first one is the city manager's claims paid report. There's nothing unusual in the report.
And number 15.
And same for the financial report.
Thank you. That brings us to public comment. Anybody here in chambers like to come up in public comment? You have up to 3 minutes, or on the telephone, 702-589-9629. We will wait a little moment. Seven oh two 589-9629. Anybody on the phone line? Anyone in chambers? 702-589-9629. No one on the phone, no one in chambers. We will close public comment, and we will go to City Council's report. I will start with Councilman Walton.
Thank you, Mayor. As far as the Southern Nevada Water Authority, there still is no agreement among the Colorado River Basin states. Deadlines come and deadlines go. And so they're still working, which is the good thing. There's a glimmer of hope with the Southern California preserving Colorado River flow through the production of potable water through a recently activated desal plant, which is located in San Diego County. It's operating at about half production right now. We'll see where that goes. I know all of the river basin states are interested in that endeavor from California to preserve water. We'll see where that goes. The Convention Authority, recent conventions and events have ranged from international rugby tournaments to fashion conventions to a very niche market of Bondi card games. Didn't even know what that was till I heard it today. If you're interested, look it up. To Con Expo and Ag Expo, which is the largest construction industry expo in the world. Happens every 3 years in Las Vegas. And while the LVCVA staff are working diligently to draw visitors during these uncertain times, the fact remains that room occupancy is lower than normal, unfortunately. And with room occupancy, there is a certain benefit that Boulder City receives from tourism dollars spent here. And so that's a little bit down, but at the same time, during 2025, Clark County has grown to close to 1.4%, or roughly 100,000 people. So the community has grown, tourism down a little bit. What does that mean? The consolidated tax, which is less funded by visitation and more funded by residents. Hopefully, we don't know exactly how that offset will be, but we're hopeful that at least with that increase in population, maybe the C-tax will remain steady, if nothing else, for 2026. And my Did You Know segment. In 2025, visitation to Las Vegas from the western United States. So take the continental divide there, the Rocky Mountains, and come westward. Those states accounted for 58% of visitor origination to Las Vegas. Interesting. Yeah. And 12% of our visitation origination is from international destinations, Predominantly, those two sources are Canada and Mexico. And then the rest of the percentages made up from other places. So that's an interesting fact. And had the opportunity with Council Member Ashurst to attend the Boulder City Little League opening ceremonies this past Saturday. It was great to see the youth out in record numbers, actually, for our Boulder City Little League. Great coaches, great parents, great sponsors. Really an event charged with excitement and anticipation for a new season. Our Parks and Rec activities and sports are gearing up, and lots going on for our youth. And really, I've appreciated seeing that fire up, so to speak. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my debt management committee meeting was vacated, and so I had no other committees for this time. But I did want to say how nice it was tonight to hear a little voice saying the Pledge of Allegiance along with us. We don't often get little voices in here, and it was so nice. And for me to be able to see them using their ability for drawing. We a lot of times get athletes in here or different things to celebrate state, and so this was another wonderful venue for us to be able to bring the younger population in our community in and celebrate them for the things that they contribute in our community. I want to say thank you because we had I just don't even know. Associate Superintendent, Robeson? Is it Theo? Yeah. Is he an associate or superintendent? Region 3. This is terrible. I know his name, though. I know his
Robeson,
name.
yeah.
Yeah. So here, it made me really think of what an integral part the people in our community play with helping our children become the best people they can become to go out into the world and help make it a better place. I think of just the crossing guards that I see every morning and how appreciative I am that they get up and they help our kids to be able to be safe. I think of the parents who go in and volunteer and participate and bring their kids and make sure they're there on time and help them with their homework and help them get their helmets on as they ride to school. I'm appreciative for them. The teachers who spend countless hours. I was the teacher. Your job doesn't end when you go home. You sit at home, you're correcting homework, you're doing all sorts of different things. And you might even be doing bulletin boards at 6:30 when you arrive early. There's a lot that goes into teaching, and it is a passion project, actually. And I thank those teachers here who are putting that kind of passion into our youth. I want to thank our community and, the administrators and for the good work that they're doing, and then also the community for their contribution of time and money that's invaluable when it comes to our schools in helping them to be successful. And I hope that we'll continue to see that in the future. So just a little shout out to a portion of our community we don't always get to see in here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I just wanted to say, I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world living in Boulder City, and I just want to wish everyone a happy St. Patty's. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Happy St. Patty's, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, St. Patty's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. So, I don't get to sit on too many boards, but we did have a meeting today with our Civilian Military Council Executive Committee, and we took care of a little bit of housekeeping. The main thing was, prior to COVID, it was a really, really large group, and it's kind of really narrowed down, so our focus is to grow the group again. The military and the community are bonded. We surround the military basically with all the North Las Vegas, Henderson, and Boulder City, and we have a lot in common, and we share a lot. So that's our goal, to try and get more outreach to the communities, not just to the military, but vice versa. They want to come out in the communities and do things with us. So we also focus on the 250th year that our country is about to have a birthday, and we were talking about going to each other's events and kind of promoting the CMC through those events and just coming together and do things. Everybody there loves Boulder City, and we are the chair this year. So Bridget, Tammy, and I have the opportunity to showcase Boulder City and what we do. So that was really neat. We also talked about military widows, and I shared a little bit about this last council meeting. I had a handout, and it'll be in the package so people can see it online, but there's a lot of money out there from this DIC program. It was a program that was put together for Vietnam vets who paid into a system. Their wives never got the money. Dina Titus, once again with Donald Trump, in his first session, got together and approved this. So there's a lot of money out there for military widows or military spouses, and look online. That flyer will be out there, and just contact the person on there. She lives her life to make sure that military widows and spouses are taken care of. So that was something else that we talked about. I did enjoy the Little League. Steve didn't say it, but he threw out the first pitch. I was jealous. So cool. He threw a good pitch and the kid dropped it, and they gave him a hard time after that. But it was fun. Congratulations, obviously, to the iVoter sticker winners tonight. It's always great to see the kids out. And me too, when I heard them say the Pledge of Allegiance, and it just made our hall feel really full. And everybody knew all the words, which is good, right? So they're learning something. But I just want to give a shout out to all those little ones. They're our future. This is, they will be sitting up here one day, and everything we do is an example for them, and they loved being here. So I was really glad to be a part of that today. I do want to end with praying for our troops and Americans abroad. We are in a conflict, and that's never easy. When I grew up, it seemed like the world stopped when we were in a conflict. Now everybody kind of goes about their daily things, and we got a war going overseas. But I never want to forget our troops, because that's why we do what we do. Because freedom is not free, and they are there keeping that tradition going right now. So before you close your eyes tonight, just lift them up, and always our fire department and our police department, because they do that as well every day, leave their homes to come and protect ours. I just want to thank my fellow council and mayor and the staff. I wanted to say when Ned was up there, I just love our monthly meetings. We go on for hours just talking. We're friends. We're not only just co-workers, we're friends, and that's what you got to love about Boulder City. So thank you to everyone in this room. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Speaking of good news, the Hospital Association, in companion with the City of Boulder City, sponsored and got the Cashman Good Government Award from the Nevada Taxpayer Association, with our partnership with the social worker that works with us and tries to find and finds ways to help people, and we appreciated that award. The city manager was there, and the assistant city manager, depending on how many different titles he has that. It's a great place for us to interface with so many other people in the state, and let them know that Boulder City is still in existence. Great place, good people in this state, and pleasure to serve. I will warn you that the Southern Nevada Health District is starting to spray for mosquitoes already, so don't get bit. With that, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.